Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first in a series of videos that are going to provide you with the instructions that you need to complete your project. For this video, we are going to be looking at the opening journal entry. From our previous lecture, you would have been shown how to create your company, how to modify your chart of accounts using the edit feature or the adding feature. And I'm reminding you that I told you not to delete any general ledger accounts. Now, from that exercise, you were to ensure that all of the account IDs on this appendix must be in the chart of accounts. So at the end of your exercise, all these accounts must exist. Now the thing is that I told you not to focus on the numbers, the dollar values. So from your first exercise, when you created your chart of accounts, you should only have captured or reviewed your account ID, modified your account description, and ensured that your account type was correct. Because I said to you that once you add new accounts, what is going to happen is that the system assumes it to be cash. If you recall, when I was adding the interest receivable, I had to change the account type to ensure that the information was correctly captured. But note also that I did nothing to this $15,000. And so, starting from our opening trial balance, we're going to now move into the screen that we need in order to do the journal. So here we are on the home page. Now we're going to be going to the feature that says task. So let's select task, and we're going to look for general journal entry. Now remember, I told you that one of the things with accounting packages is that there are several ways that you can access windows that you need to capture information. For this first task of creating and posting your opening journal, you're going to need the window called General Journal Entry. And note, remember, I selected task, the drop-down list came up, and I looked for General Journal Entry. So now I'm going to magnify the screen. Now look at the features of this window. The windows in Sage are very similar in how they're designed. Up here you will have the name of the window that you're in. So you're in the General Journal Entry window. That window has its own menu bar: File, Edit, Go To, Window, and Help. It also has its own icon bar. Okay? Now, when you are recording or creating a journal, you need to, of course, put your starting date. Now, this picture here is a calendar icon. And when we're entering dates in Sage, we are not going to type in the date, we're going to click on the icon and choose the date. So right now we're in 2021, January, and we're going to click the 1st. Now for our next field, we're going to have to put in a reference number. Now the reference number is unique to the journal. Every transaction that is captured or capturing an economic event has to have a unique reference number. So we're doing a general journal entry. So I'm going to call it G for general, J for journal, and I'm going to type 01 because this is the first journal entry that we are creating. Now notice the rest of the screen. We have the place where we're going to put the GL account number. We have a description such that whatever we record here in the description will be recorded in the general ledger, and for future use, that information will show up in the accounts. We have a debit column, and as I mentioned in your previous class, our Appendix 1 has numbers that are bracketed and the numbers that are not bracketed. The numbers that are not bracketed would be like your asset accounts and your receivable accounts and your inventory accounts, and all of these carry debit balances. So on your Appendix 1, if a figure is not bracketed, it means that you're looking at a general ledger account that carries an opening debit balance. Now the other figures are bracketed, and those would suggest that those accounts have opening balances that carry credit balances. So when we're recording the journal, this opening journal, we're going to be listing all the numbers that are positive in the debit column and all the numbers that are negative in the credit column. Now I'm going to make a few entries to show you how to record or post your journal. Now you do recall from your studies that when you have completed a journal, the debit totals must match your credit totals. Case in point, when you are watching the payroll journal or watching the payroll video, at the end of it, I did or compiled a payroll journal, and I used the formulae to pull the information from the payslip we created in order to do this journal. And I showed you at the end that all the debits from that payroll journal matched the credits. Now, as you enter the information in the debit column, you're going to notice some things happening down here. First of all, with each debit entry, the total for that column is going to get bigger. Likewise, your out of balance figure is also going to get bigger. But once you start entering the credits, note what is going to happen. The credit figures or the credit total will start to grow as you enter each credit figure, but the out of balance now begins to shrink. Now, once you have correctly entered all of your lines from your opening trial balance, which is what Appendix 1 is, your out of balance will then be 0. Note, you will not be able to post your journal, meaning you will not be able to click Save and Close. You will not be able to click Save and Close unless your out of balance figure is 0. Please remember that. Okay? So I'm now going to put in a few lines to show you how the totals change as you enter your data. So now we're back on Appendix 1, which, as I said, is your opening trial balance. It has all your assets, all your liabilities, and all your equity accounts. Notice that there are no income accounts and there are no expense accounts. Now, presuming that you have been operating in previous years, all of the income amounts and all the expense amounts have been transferred to this account called retained earnings. Okay? So what I'm going to be doing here is just picking out a sample of figures to record in this opening journal entry. Now, I have not modified all of the chart of accounts, modified my chart of accounts, sorry. So I'm only going to be able to do one or two of these entries. Okay, so I'm now taking a picture of it, and then I am going to move back over to my general journal entry screen. So I'm going to take a few, I'm going to enter the banking, the BNS checking account figure. I'm going to enter the fixed deposit figure, accounts receivable, some inventories. Now I'm scrolling down to the fixed assets. I'm going to post some of those as well. And as we add these debits, our debit totals are going to get larger. But then I'm going to now move on to the accumulated depreciation and enter some negative values. And finally, I'm going to also enter your common stock and your retained earnings. All right, so now that I have a picture of my opening trial balance, and remember class, I did say to you, please print off all your appendices so that you will have something tangible, something to hold on to touch, to see, to make notes on as you do your data entry. Okay, let us switch back to the Sage screen. Okay, so now we're back. Now let me start by entering the bank accounts. So I'm just bringing it up on my phone. Okay, here we are. Now the first row is where we start. So I'm going to click in there. Now, two things to note. One, there's a flashing cursor. And two, there's a magnifying glass. Now, because I have my number in front of me on my phone, and you would have it on your printed sheet, I can simply enter the account number. Okay? That is one way to access the GL account, which is the same thing as the account ID. Now for the description, I'm going to put opening balances at 1st January 2021. This description is what you're going to use for every single solitary line in this journal that you're creating. Now for the amount was 2 million, and notice where I'm placing my cursor. Let me delete this, that is there already. 2,235,297. So I'm going to click tab on my computer, tab once, twice, 3 times. Now what do you notice? Notice that the description autofills for the second line. Now, a while ago when I was entering the jail account, which I said is the same as the account ID, I just typed in the number. But supposing you don't remember the number, this magnifying glass is a search feature in Sage, okay? So if I click this magnifying glass, and the proper name for the magnifying glass is the lookup button, because you're going to click on it to look up something. I am going to click on the line that I want, and notice how the system captures the account number. So again, I'm going to tab over, and I'm going to now put in the amount, and it was 1,200,000. Now that I have entered 2 figures so far, and I think I made an error with the bank, is 22,35297. 2235 2,235,297. Oh, I'm missing the 9. Oh, it's sticky. Okay, that's better. Now let us look at the totals at the bottom. This 3.4 million came about because I entered 2 positive figures, 2 debits, both from the bank account. Notice that the out of balance has also gotten bigger. Now let us enter. Let us enter our next. I'm going to tap down to the next row, and I'm going to enter the accounts receivable figure, and that was 11,000. And I typed 11, and notice that it found it already. I'm just going to click tab to accept and move over, and I'm going to put in the amount now. It is 4,092,336. Now look at the total down here. As I press the tab key to move, it recalculates the total, recalculates the out of balance. Let's continue. I'm going to put in the interest receivable. I type in 11,200, press tab. Notice again that the description autofills. The amount is $15,000. Tabbing over. I'm going to put in some inventory figures. Let me see if they have 12,100. Printer inventory, yes, it's there. This is the only one I'm going to enter. 12,150. So you're going to have to enter everything. 127,696. All right, so right now, both our totals for the debits and the out of balance are the same. Now I'm going to start entering some negative figures. I'm going to start entering some negative figures. And I'm going to start entering the accumulated depreciation. Now the one I'm going to select is for the printer. So 17400. There we are. Oh, that's for leasehold. Okay, so this is one of them that you're going to have to change. Let's put 17,200. In fact, let me look at use the lookup button to see what is available. So I'm deleting what is there, clicking on the lookup button, and I'm going all the way down to accumulated depreciation. Okay, so furniture is there. Let's select that one. So now that I'm entering a credit figure, I'm not going to include the bracket. Please do not put a bracket while entering the credit. The fact that you're in this column, the system knows that your figure that you're entering is a credit. Let's check on the lookup button again. Now look at what has happened. We are now starting to get a total figure for the credit column. But make a note of the out of balance figure. It is 7,620,329. Now I'm going to click on the lookup button and see what other depreciation that I already have that I don't have to key. I have equipment 17,100. So we have our out of balance as 7,620,329. When I put in the figure for the that account is 62,500. And by the way, you would have modified this account already and called it computers. Now notice that the figure has dropped to 7,557,829. Notice also that the credit total has increased. Now once you enter every single thing from this opening trial balance on Appendix 1, your out of balance should be 0. Because if I try to click Save now, look at what message I get. The general journal cannot be posted because it is out of balance. So I'm going to click OK. So until you do that, until you've entered all your debits and all your credits correctly, you are not going to get an out of balance of 0. Now, in your data entry, you may also get a message that the general ledger account that you're entering does not exist. It simply means that you need to go back to your chart of accounts and make sure that you have created that account either by adding it or editing an already existing account. Okay, so just in case any of you get a message like that, you need to ensure that all of your GL account that you've created, the GL accounts, make sure that they are there. Because if they are not there and you're trying to post something to that account, you are going to get a message that the account does not exist. All right, so I'm not going to complete all of the entries, but just to show you what to do. So when you now have your out of balance figure, you can click Save and Close, and the window will close. So I'm going to cancel this because I have not entered all the information. Now, the last thing that I want to share with you is that there are different ways to access that window. A while ago, we went to Task and we went to General Journal Entry. Notice now that because we have created or gone into that window under shortcuts, because on our navigation panel, we have shortcuts. There is a General Journal window and we can click on this. Or we can go to Banking, and down here is your General Journal Entry window. So therefore, we can access this, or if you go to Company, where is it? All right. So we clicked on Task to get there. We went to the shortcuts. You could click on General Journal Entry. And we also went to Banking, where you could have clicked on General Journal Entry. All right, this marks the end of this first video. We've gone 24 minutes into it. And once you have watched this, you should be able to complete the first task, which is to record your opening journal. Okay, thank you.